Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. This video is brought to you by First Detachment Nutrition. Battle tested, expert formulated. Use discount code AB10 at checkout for 10% off. All right, guys. Big Paul here today with Mr. Olympia 2023 edition of Anabolic Bodybuilding Live. Just want to remind everybody before we get started that you can also get us on Spotify. I'll have the episode up probably later this evening, tomorrow. So don't drive your car and try to kill yourself watching YouTube. I've had so many people tell me they do that. Do not do that. Although I've been guilty of that one before. So Spotify, we're up there. I am also on Twitter, or I guess formerly known as Twitter, the artist known as X now. I'm up there. I don't know if anybody pays any attention to it, but I am putting shit up there now, so you can find me there. Also, and check out Kurt's HGH ebook. It is on my website and also on Kurt's website if you want to check that out. So what's going on, guys?
Nothing. It's good stuff. Yeah. It's cold here.
There's not much going on this weekend, right? The Olympia.
No. Yeah, kind of steals the thunder from everything else, right?
Yeah, that's why we have a sparse crew today, because everybody's at the Olympia. Chase, Steve, and Roman, and everybody's at the Olympia.
Yeah, so Steve posting on Instagram, taking pictures with everyone. Looks like fun.
Well, Steve's a celebrity. Everybody wants a piece of Steve.
I wish I could. Yeah, I wish I could be over there right now.
Yeah, next year I will be. I thought about going this year, but just 2 weeks out from my show, man, that's just too close to my show.
Yeah.
Traveling and doing prep is fucking awful, man.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So, Keone Won?
Right? Yeah. It's awesome. He beat Shaun Clarida.
He deserved
Shaun looked
it.
a little off.
Who did?
Shaun.
Did he? Yeah, I mean, I have always liked Keone.
Yeah, I like Keone's shape, and I mean, he just needs to bring his conditioning in better each time, and I think if he keeps doing that, he could hold the title.
His, I'm trying to find a picture of it, but it looked like Shaun's midsection was a little off.
Yeah, it was. It was a little bit distended, but I mean, you notice that a lot with Matt Jensen's clients. I think Nick Walker's a lot better now, obviously, because he kind of pulled things in a lot, but. It's a shame that he wasn't able to compete. I was looking forward to seeing Nick Walker on the stage.
Yeah. Saw a picture of him with Steve on Instagram in a wheelchair. He was not looking like a happy camper.
Yeah. It crushed you like working that long for the show, and then obviously 2 weeks, not even 2 weeks out, obviously like a week out, you're killing yourself.
Yeah.
It's funny because I just put a hamstring and glute workout video up and like a couple days before, and I was telling people how I'm not going super crazy with doing SLDLs. I was just using the cables because I didn't want to tear a hamstring before the show. People were like, "Did you make this before the Nick thing?" And I'm like, "No." I think that's a young man's disease. You'll see it with a lot of younger bodybuilders. I feel like they need to keep the foot on the gas going into the show, and you're so dry at the end. It's I can't tell you how many people I've seen over the years tear muscles going into shows. You're just rolling the dice. Not that, I'm not trying to. Nick seems to train smart. Out of the guys I've seen, he seems to train very intelligently, but it's just something to be mindful of going into show. I don't know that that's the time to be trying to set PRs 2 weeks before a show.
Yeah. He also, I don't know if you've seen videos of him doing his stiff-legged deadlifts on Instagram, but he keeps a real stiff leg. He's very flexible, maybe less so now, but he would go really deep on those stiff-legged deadlifts and keep a really stiff leg. So he'd get a great stretch in the hamstring, which is, that's why he had such big hamstrings, I'm sure, in part. But like you said, he just wasn't being careful that close to his prep, going too heavy and really stretching it out like that. I mean, the muscle's just not we were talking about this the other day, Paul. It's like a dry rubber band, and you're asking it to stretch beyond, what it's capable of.
I mean, it was like Dorian Yates with his HIIT training. Every time he it was like 3 Olympias in a row. He tore a muscle like a couple weeks out, trying to train heavy all the way up into the show. I mean, at that point, this is my thought process. Off season is the time for growing muscle. Contest prep, I tell my clients they have a couple jobs. Job number 1 is to get fat free, get all the fat off of you. That is job number 1. Job number 2 is to not get hurt, and then just make sure you're fresh and ready to go on stage. I don't think setting PRs the week out is going to add any additional size or make up for anything. I'm not saying that you should coast, but I generally pull training and cardio back that last week or so going to the show, so you're fresh, look good on stage.
Yeah. Well, you achieve nothing from like putting your foot down on the pedal in that final 1 to 2 week period, other than just potentially jeopardize everything you've worked so hard for. Because, like you said, fatigue's at an all-time high. Yeah. I mean, the propensity to injure yourself is just through the roof. Like, especially with like slow eccentrics, I always say to like my guys, I don't want you to like concentrate on trying to slow the eccentrics that much. Like, slow the concentric a little bit if you want and get a pause at the top, but just try not slow those eccentrics too much, because that's where you're likely to injure yourself on that negative.
Right. Apparently, a couple of people are saying that he didn't even doing any sort of hamstring work. This Stepan said he tore it out of the gym, but then Marek's here saying he tore it during a back workout, according to an interview he gave. I don't know. I didn't hear how he tore it. I did just assume.
When I've had torn stuff before and I've gone to the orthopedic has always told me that usually the tear is a result of micro trauma that's accumulated over time. It's not actually that moment that you've torn. It's like when I tore my ACL, it just like, it wasn't even really weird. It was just popped. And he said probably your ACL was already frayed. There was already some damage there.
So seeing as Nick apparently tore it training chest, he probably already did all the damage prior to that session, and then that was just like the mouse that walked on the boat and kind of sunk the boat.
Yeah, moral of the story is I just think you have to be cautious going into the show. I mean, it sucks getting that close to the show and getting injured.
It's awful. I can't imagine just how devastating that must be.
I would cry.
Yeah, for sure. And it would be warranted.
I'm not an emotional guy. I generally am very controlling my emotions, but I probably would cry, punch something, scream. Because it sucks going through prep and then having to not do your show at the end because of something like that. Oh, so here's Shaun. I want to pull this video up of Shaun. There's Todd, Mr. Late. Let me go back and do this one from the start. So there's definitely something weird going on with his midsection here.
He's got some diastasis recti happening. Like,
you can see that. See that scar? Yeah, I don't know if he had a surgery. But
definitely lost his midsection a bit.
Yeah, it's like all washed out.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks pretty hard everywhere else.
Yeah.
So I don't know
what I missed. Who did we go over already?
Oh, you missed everything, Todd.
Damn it.
We were just talking about Nick's injury, and then Shaun's midsection looking weird. Yeah, he doesn't really have his glutes in either.
Yeah, I was going to say his glute striations aren't that like dug out or deep.
He just looks watery. It's hard carrying all that size, carving up.
Do we know what he weighed in at? Because he's been gaining like 9 pounds a year for the last several years.
Yeah, I have no idea. But I was showing them his midsection. Check it out, Todd.
Yeah.
There's some weird shit going on here.
Looks like maybe a bit.
It looks like a scar right above his navel.
Yeah, it looks like he had some surgery done.
And a bit too much visceral fat by the looks of it too, kind of pushing his stomach out, possibly.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I still love the guy. I mean,
can we see what Keone looked like? Because I didn't get a good view.
If I can find the video.
The schedule is I mean, unless I wanted to sit there for 7 hours straight, I felt like I wasn't going to see shit. So I went to the gym and I did some business calls and I was checking periodically.
I'll tell you how badass my gym is. They had it playing at the gym.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, it's definitely a bodybuilder's gym, that's for sure. Yeah, let me see if I can find a video of him.
I'm starting to get sick of this.
Coco Productions, right? They're usually the ones that put it up. Can't find their page.
All right. I've just about had it with this webcam. I'm going to switch to the one that's built into the computer for now.
I tell you what, Derek looks like he's got it locked up though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's Keone. Hang on, let me pull this one up.
Kurt, were you late for your appointment yesterday?
I texted him while we were filming.
Okay.
I said it'd be 30 minutes late. It's all good. That's why I ran off as fast as we were done.
All right, so here's Keone.
His waist is so tapered.
Yeah.
Like a wasp waist.
I knew this was coming though, that he's got probably the best genetics in the IFBB.
Yep.
Yeah. He'd probably do with losing another like 5 pounds of fat, and he'd just be like absolutely like dug out through the glutes then. Like
Do you know what he weighed in it?
What do you weigh in?
No clue. But I mean, he looked great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think
it's the best he's ever looked.
Yeah.
It's always a fine line to draw between just getting absolutely shredded and then losing your pop. I don't know. I kind of prefer the fuller look. Look how his abs are all separated and pulled apart, though.
Yeah. They ripped recently, I think. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
They were slowly working their way that direction, I think, for a while.
It seems like a lot of the advanced guys end up with that. What is the reason for that?
Well, I've got it too. I think it's genetic. Like I've got a weak fascia. I'm prone to hernias. So I had my first hernia jumping off a table when I was 3.5, and that was an inguinal hernia, so like near my groin. And then I had an umbilical hernia when I did powerlifting, training triceps, actually doing tricep press downs. But I probably did it from all the like heavy beltless squatting and deadlifting, because I used to beltless squat 5 plates aside for sets of like 5 to 10 at like 200 pounds, like body weight. It was just stupid. And I think just that intra-abdominal pressure over time just causes it to, diverge a little bit.
Apart.
Yeah,
Man,
but if you're not prone to it, you don't get it. Like some people could, like just beltless deadlift like 6-7 plates aside for their whole life, and they probably would never get it. And other people,
knock on wood, I've never had a hernia.
That's good.
This is Derek. Oh, let me pull back again. He looked great. I don't think anybody's beating him.
Yeah, I had him or Samson for first, like, and whoever got first would get second, and then Hadi for third. That's my kind of like prediction.
It's hard to tell unless you're there. I mean, I definitely, that was apparent to me after going to the New York Pro last year. The guys looked like people were talking about other people who should have won the New York Pro, and it was like when Tonio walked out there, I was like, yeah, that guy. Colin was with me. What did I say? I said that one doesn't look like the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at his glutes. Holy shit, man.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now that is shredded.
Yeah.
He is dry and shredded.
And fucking huge.
That's one thing that I've noticed Hani's really good with. He gets his guys peeled. Like
I've seen some of his diets. They're brutal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he had Chris, what was it, last year on like 1,500 calories toward the end.
Here's Hadi. Hadi didn't look as crisp this year as he has.
Yeah.
His waist has gotten blockier. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think he looked better last year. Although, I mean, he still looks great.
Yeah. I think he peaked more last year. Yeah, definitely. Just overall package was a little bit better last year. But I think he's got a little bit more mass this year, but it's just he's sacrificed other areas to have that bit of extra mass on stage. Let
me see if I can find Samson here. I just love Samson's physique.
Oh, me too. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, he has my favorite physique, honestly, out of the, and he seems like such a humble guy too.
Mm.
He's definitely not as, I don't think he's as crisp as he was.
Yeah,
his abs are starting to pull apart too.
Yeah, his are starting to pull apart, and he's his midsection's washed out.
I think one thing that probably wouldn't have done him too much good was flying over for the show so close. I think he only came over like 4 days out or something, didn't he? Like he should have come in at least a week out, I think, so he could have time to settle from the flight, let the fluid kind of like redistribute and that sort of thing, have time to kind of acclimate to the climate.
You're making
different
me
to the UK.
You're making me feel bad because I'm flying out like 3 days before my show.
Oh shit! Oh, no.
I just can't go out any early. Yeah, he's like from behind, like he's a little washed out. Like he looks like he's still holding a pocket of fat in his lower back too.
I didn't think he'd be conditioned. Like I didn't think his glutes would be in because his glutes have never been in.
Yeah.
And I can't recall, maybe I'm wrong. I can't recall Milos's guys ever having shredded glutes.
Well, Milos is the man. He is the king of fill and spill, or whatever. I mean, I don't know if that's exactly his approach, but he carves his guys up hard, from what I understand. I mean, you definitely get that full look.
I think me and Kurt talked about this before, but my hypothesis is the amount of insulin and carbs used in the off season can make it harder for someone to get shredded come contest, whether it's simply the amount of body fat that's accumulated. Like, I think that it's reasonable to drop up to 10%. So for you to get 3% on stage, you probably can't start the prep at over 13%.
I agree with that.
And that I think that if he's pushing people from 250 to 300 pounds with insulin, the amount of fat that's accumulated from that, or the amount of insulin resistance, although people say, well, you don't get insulin resistant from insulin. I was like, well, it seems that whether they have a greater amount of fat to lose or whether they have insulin resistance from running insulin in the off season, Hadi Ramba doesn't use insulin, and his people come in the most shredded. And then the people that I've seen that use insulin don't come in as shredded. And it's either the distance travel is too great, or the insulin itself, although great for the off season, is then the double edge of that sword is that it will be more difficult to become shredded come contest time. And I don't have any science to support this. This is just pattern recognition on my part.
That makes sense. Here's the classic guys. I mean, Bumstead just looks like Bumstead. I mean, he's always consistent.
Yeah, I was impressed with what's his name? I can't remember how to pronounce his name, but
he always keeps his waist so tight.
Yeah. Now, notice none of these guys are going to have diastasis recti.
Mm-hmm.
No. Mm-hmm. I mean, look how tight his waist is.
I think it's probably the most important thing anyone can figure out is what causes diastasis recti and not do it.
Deadlifts.
Yeah, I was intra-abdominal pressure.
Yeah,
squats.
Yeah, so I switched to belt squats because I don't have diastasis recti and I don't want to get it.
What is going on with his hamstring here? What is that?
Ooh, it looks like it's torn and hanging.
Yeah.
He had
it's an old
like
tear.
It's hanging on.
Yeah, I think that happened in like 2020 or 2019, that hamstring tear.
Todd, what's your reasoning? Why is the diastasis happening in the open guys, not the classic? Is it from weight?
I think it's the amount of food they eat.
Yeah, the distension from
C-Bum was squatting 6 plates, and he was deadlifting 7. He doesn't have it.
I mean, I squat very heavy for my weight. I've gotten a hernia before, but my abs haven't torn open like that.
Right, and
I wear a belt too.
I don't want to name drop her, but I know someone who, on her second pregnancy, got it.
Yeah, I've seen it in women.
Well, so it's from intra-abdominal pressure. Now, of
Okay.
course, deadlifts increase intra-abdominal pressure, but if you've already got intra-abdominal pressure from having 20 or 30 pounds of intestinal content, aka feces, then you do deadlifts, that you're going to have even more intra-abdominal pressure.
I've also wondered too. You'll see dudes they wear those. You know what I'm talking about, the bodybuilding belts versus the powerlifter belt, and they fucking crank those belts down really high, and they sit low on the abdomen, and you got all this pressure that's pushed up top. If that doesn't have some effect on it too.
Well, see,
I don't wear a belt at all.
I think it's a combination of what Todd said, like the intra-abdominal pressure, whether that's from like pressure coming like from internally going external from all that like food that basically that content, that volume in the gastrointestinal tract, or intra-abdominal pressure created from heavy deadlifts and squats, particularly beltless, or if you're using a belt and trying to really push out against the belt. And then on top of that, genetics play a bit of a role, like
probably all the
and
above.
just weak, and a weak transverse abdominis too. If you've got weak transverse abdominis, you're going to struggle to kind of like keep everything in. So I mean, I think one way you could prevent it is doing some like transverse abdominal training, not dead bugs, because that's kind of pointless for someone our level of strength. Like doing a dead bug's going to achieve fuck all, but like doing something a little bit more challenging that works the transverse abdominis, and then also like any sort of like piriformis work that you can do. And then if you do that, you like strengthen those internal kind of core muscles, along with just avoiding potential triggers like super high volumes of food in the off season. Maybe switch to like more lower volume foods to keep that gastric content a bit more condensed. You can I think there's strategies to put in place, but it's just a recipe that's I guess made from open bodybuilders a lot of the time.
Yeah, I've been trying to in my off season when I'm pushing food, be mindful of the food volume, trying to eat. That's why I throw some sugar and stuff in to get my carbs in.
Yeah.
Man, Ramon looks good.
Yeah,
he does.
Deca Beats says that Samson weighed 300 right on the nose before prejudging.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's
a big boy.
It's a big boy. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I was there though, man. Next year I'll go. I'm gonna go to the Arnold. I'm definitely gonna make that happen.
Yeah. Paul, I'm definitely going with you.
Todd, you coming?
I'm gonna come. You said that you were getting some certain tickets or whatever. I wanted to get my tickets in the same section as yours. I don't know how to
I'm gonna pay extra and get the VIP seats.
Okay. In the past, I've always just walked up to the VIP section. I never actually paid. I always got general admission, then would walk there.
They're like $500, I think.
Yeah, I ended up paying like 50, and I got to sit next to the people who paid 500. And I've been there like 7 times.
Todd's that guy. I'm trying to.
Well, I mean, I wait till people leave their seats after bikini. It usually clears out.
I feel like I'm doing the women a disservice. Does anybody care about seeing the women?
Yeah,
I don't. I've never met anyone that wasn't a woman who wanted to see the females.
I mean, Natalia Kohila or whatever. I always get her name wrong. She's always great. We saw her at the New York Pro. God damn, she was the most ripped woman I've ever seen.
I saw a picture of Lee Haney from his first Olympia today, in whatever that was, 85, next to one of the girls in women's bodybuilding, and she was bigger than Lee Haney.
Wow.
Yeah, she's a freak of nature. Like, she is just shredded.
Yeah.
That's physique, right? I can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
I do like women's physique. It's pretty impressive. The women's bodybuilders, until you're at New York Pro, I had my client that competed, Andrea, up there. I was like, Andrea's big. Like, I saw, Andrea up close is big, and then she gets on stage, and some of these other girls were bigger. I was like, holy crap, man. The girl that won the is it Natalia Kovalevo, I think is her name, the one that won the bodybuilding at New York Pro. She was bigger than Michael DeBoll, who won the Win the classic.
All right.
Yeah, she was impressive. I don't know who else we got here. Missy Truscott, she's always great.
Who won wellness? Franciella?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think she did. Yeah, blonde.
It's funny. I'd rather look at the pictures of the models than the competitors. I mean, for either gender. I guess I'm straight. I don't know.
I think you're the straightest straight guy I know, Todd.
Really? Oh, that's great to hear, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't. Somebody was asking me about Urs. I don't. Wait a minute. It's not a very good video of him.
Wait, is it even? Did I say something like a hate crime by saying thank you when you said I'm the straightest straight guy you know? I don't even know anymore. Okay,
no, I think you're okay.
I think Urs just needs to bite the bullet and move to opens because he loses too much size on his upper body when he dives
he looked
down.
Massive like a month or so. This is crazy.
And then his arms look tiny on stage today. Like Urs really needs to just move to opens.
I'm trying to get this to pull up. It won't come up. But off-season Derek versus. There we go.
Wow, it's fucking cool to look at.
Yeah,
I mean he's still pretty lean in the off-season. It just looks like a lot of water.
That was
really
from
cool.
I think he did some guest posing. That was a still from his guest posing he did.
I think that was from the Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Bro. I love when they point out the shots, like people are doing their glute shots and stuff. This is who
Did you read the comment? Someone read the first comment.
Someone has too much time in their mom's basement.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, where else are you supposed to put it? Seriously, I think that's Derek, right?
Oh, it was Nate Spear too. Fuck, I love Nate
that's
Spear.
hilarious. I love Nate's awesome.
That's great.
Oh man, this is Fernando Arroyo's page. He loves pointing out everybody's flaws.
You always find that
Always
one
that
person
guy.
that just tries to tear everybody down. Yeah, must
But
hate
believe-
himself so much.
Oh, believe me, I get the full. I think you got a little piece of it the other day, Nicholas. But welcome to the club, man. It's funny. It's like the leaner and the better I look, the more people come out of the woodwork to tell me how terrible I am. They don't care when I'm fat in the off season.
Yeah.
Are you just getting more views? Like, are you getting more likes and more comments in general? So the absolute value of insults goes up, but the proportion
I guess. I don't know. I just laugh at it. Holy shit. I think I got to pull this one up. This puts it in perspective how fucking big Samson is compared to everybody else.
I think a big part of
I thought I had a big head.
Yeah, Samson has a massive head, doesn't he? He's got a cranium on him.
He looks.
He's got a cranium on him.
How tall is he?
He's about my height.
He's 6'1", 6'2", isn't he?
Yeah.
Big boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw him at the New York Pro. Colin can tell you.
Biggest human I've ever seen with my own two eyes. Like it, I know I said it before, but it was a room full of large men at the New York Pro, like in the area where everybody was schmoozing, and you could see, all these bodybuilders standing among normal people, and among everyone in that room, he stood out as being the largest, like just at a glance.
I just
as
noticed
a big boy.
He's got a little bit of gyno over there. I got the same thing. Everybody loves to point out my nipple. Like, what's wrong with your nipple, Paul? What's wrong with your nipple? I'm like, all right, I got gyno on one side. I got a little piece of gyno I got to get removed, and my other one's inverted. I was just born that way. The shit people obsess over.
Oh, people are strange.
Yeah, Nick and I,
Sorry, you have to go through
Nicholas
that.
and I get some good ones on our videos together too.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Someone told me someone the other day told me I was ugly what was wrong with my face. I got one, Todd. I got one for both of us. Someone said that you and I should go in and get Hair Club for Men. We get a 2-for-1 discount.
You know what's funny is all the insults on my channel are when it's you and me together, but it's always at me. It's always like,
why are you on my channel? So
no, but it's on me. When it's me and DJ, no one has anything negative to say. It's me and any other guest, no one cares. When it's you and me, it's just like, why is Todd even there? Why is Todd talking?
Because it's your channel.
And I was just like, oh my god. I was like, it's like they only tune in for the two of us, rather than if they were to watch all the other episodes to see whatever. It's just weird that's how it works. You're saying on your channel they pick on you more.
Well, they were picking on Nick too for like just rude on. I don't understand why people will say things online that they wouldn't say in person. I would never say anything to someone online that I wouldn't dare say to them face to face.
What was Mike Tyson's famous line? Some people have never been punched in the mouth before.
Just like
everyone's got a plan.
Everybody's got a plan. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
This is Crispix, actually. It's corn on one side and rice on the other. That's Jackie or Dave. I don't know which one it is. But
talk about off-season, low-volume food. That is my go-to for carbs. I love Crispix. I eat the fuck out of some Crispix in the off-season.
Another thing is one of these bags. I mean, yes, it has some fat, but it's 30 grams of fat and it's 120 carbs and it's 800 calories. I can knock one of these out without even noticing I did it. But it's way easier.
Childhood nostalgia. I absolutely loved Goldfish biscuits when I was in school.
So I guess this is your top guys.
Yes, I agree. So what did I say? I said it was going to be Derek, Samson, Hadi, Andrew, and Nick, and I think I got the top 4 right.
I'll be honest with you, Derek's the only one that looks in shape. It's hard to tell, but I mean, Hadi's in pretty decent shape.
But yes, I agree that Derek's the only one who has glutes that go from outside to in, from top to bottom. He's a solid 5% or less body fat. No one else so far in either. Maybe in the classic we're going to see some 5%ers, but I haven't seen any 5%ers. It looks like Hadi's a 6% right now. Keone looked like about 6%. Shaun looked like about 7%. Samson looked like about 8%, maybe 9% body fat. And people are going to say I'm crazy. And it's just like, I'm sorry. I've just been doing this for a while, and I have my own grading system. The DEXs aren't accurate. Do you guys know of anything that's accurate?
I mean, Dex is the closest thing.
I mean, Dex had me at 12%, and then it was like 30 pounds later, I was at 10%. So I don't know how accurate that DEXA was.
Well, you definitely don't want to trust that in-body machine at the gym. No, I get these dudes all the time that'll sign up for coaching. And they're like, yo, bro, I'm 10% body fat. I'm ready to balk. The in-body at the gym said I'm 10%. And I'm looking at their pictures, and I'm like, you're 10%?
I had a guy tell me
you need to lose like 40 pounds, bro.
Yeah, he told me he was 7%. He had love handles. He had love handles. I was just like, oh my God, you have no clue what you're talking about. The surgeon told me I was at 0% body fat. I was thinking like, oh, lady, you have no clue. That's scary. You had to cut through a fat layer. How did you not notice there was fat there?
I don't think people appreciate like how lean 10% body fat really is.
Yeah.
Here, Paul, you put this one up.
Here's Brandon. So did you hear the story about Brandon? Why he was almost pulled out? They said he choked on his food and had to go to the hospital. Like he almost like choked to death or some shit. That's what anyway, that's what Johnny Bravo was saying, so who knows how true it is.
It's a Orlando curse. You know, the last time they had in Orlando was in a George Peterson. And then this time it's like Orlando's cursed.
Would you send me, Kurt?
Well, it shows I was lean, but I wasn't that lean. That was for a weigh. I made 182 on the dot, but it just shows the in-body, like, because I pulled testosterone out, so I had no water.
Yeah, that's the thing that people don't understand about in bodies or DEXs. Like water weight influences the reading so much because it's measured as muscle, isn't it? Water.
But just it can't, right? Because fat has 3% water, muscle has 75%. So it's just trying to differentiate between the two. And so because I pulled test out, I had no water.
I don't know if it's going to.
But it shows me a 3%, which I wasn't at 3. I'd be dead.
Oh yeah, that's not right.
I mean, I was pretty lean, but I wasn't that lean.
Yeah, I don't know. The in body's fuck with my head.
But yeah, I agree with your guesstimation, Todd, especially Samson about 9%, because not to throw a racist card or anything out there, like African Americans do hold their body fat in a very favorable way. Like it's scary how good they look at a high body fat level. Like they can have abs at 20% body fat. Like it's no joke.
Right, and then the glutes seem to hold. They carry more fat on their hamstrings, glutes, and hips than Caucasians.
Yeah, they can look like they're sub 7% if they have their shirt off, walking down the beach in light shorts. And then if they strip down, you can just see that their lower body is just nowhere near their midsection. Yeah.
I usually get a DEXA scan done at the beginning of prep and then right before my show. It's been pretty accurate. I mean, I was 14.5 at the beginning, and I have one scheduled not this coming Monday, but the next Monday. I'll share the results. I'm usually around 5%. That's what I've been in the past. I think I was the year I was completely emaciated. I was in the 4s, but
yeah.
What was your weight that year? It was like 180.
185.
Yeah, this is light for you.
Yeah, I'm going to be like 240 something this year. 3 years later.
That's so cool.
All right, guys. Enough about the Olympia. We don't know the winner yet, but I'm gonna put my money on Derek.
I'm there too.
Yeah, Derek, then Samson, and Hadi.
I don't see anybody beating. Oh, here's a Shaun. This is fun. We'll share this one. Shaun versus off season versus now. Oh, he had the scar in the off season too, so he must. Maybe that scar was there before. I just didn't notice it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He's had it there for a while.
He's definitely had something going on with his abdomen. You can see his belly button screwed up.
Makes you wonder.
There's not a big difference in the abs between his off season and his contest look. His legs are smaller now. His arms and shoulders are smaller, but he doesn't look that much leaner in this picture. Maybe in his face and his neck and his nipples. But
nipples. Everybody cares about nipple leanness.
Well, it's because it's right in your face, right?
Yeah, they get very.
It's the center of the body is like a face made between their belly button and the two nipples.
Yeah, he lost some body fat through his legs, through his chest, and like neck and head. Yeah, but yeah, I agree. It looks like he lost size in a lot of areas too.
I'm being hypercritical. It's just these guys are the best in the world. I get tired of people being.
Yeah,
I'm actually complimenting his off season. I'm saying that his off season looks almost as good as his contest. Not that his contest looks bad. Yeah.
This is hilarious. Yeah. Slow Thuck said Ronnie on Joe Rogan said that he was 1% body fat.
I think he was.
He said he was 0.5.
It was 0.3%. And Joe's like, "Are you sure you don't mean 3%?" He's like, "No, I mean 0.3%."
Oh, Ronnie.
I want to know what painkillers.
He was a good bodybuilder. I'll just leave it at that. and that guy had an accounting degree. It's literally a degree where you do math.
You gotta love.
He has an accounting degree. That's the part. It's like either something's wrong here because he has an accounting degree. That's what his degree is accounting.
Yeah,
it's such a likable person though. He just seems like such a good-hearted person.
Yeah, he is. He seems like a piece of guy.
Just real simple-minded, like typical like country bumpkin guy.
Oh, Chase is coming on. So we just finished.
Who's we? Oh, Steve and him. That's right.
Yeah.
Steve,
Awesome.
Well, maybe we can get.
I should have went. I feel so stupid for not going. I didn't buy my ticket, and then I didn't go because I didn't know my ticket. And turns out Dan had 4 tickets. I was just like, son of a.
There's always next year, man.
Yeah.
I thought about going, but 2 weeks out from my show is just too much.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to get my funds together and come out next year.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
man.
that'd be awesome, man.
I haven't been to the States since 2015, and I miss it. Like, I liked it. I only went to Vegas, but it was cool.
I mean, the United States really, like, there's very different regions. Like, it's almost like multiple countries packed into one. Like, Vegas is like its own thing, man. You can't. It's like going to Disney World.
Yeah,
It's like the adult Disney World. It is not.
Yeah,
it is not a representation of the rest of the country.
Yeah, I didn't like a lot about Vegas. I just liked I mean, I got to try IHOP for the first time. I thought that was fucking amazing. Like, so that's the kind of stuff I miss, like IHOP, and just the fact that stuff doesn't close at like 6 p.m. In Australia, most stuff closes at like 6 to 7
Oh,
p.m.
that's weird.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's like a big retirement village. It's kind of odd.
You can always find food here.
I mean, depending on where you're, like, if you're in New York, like, you can get, sushi at 3 a.m. if you want, made by somebody, like, made by an actual sushi chef. Like, I'm not. Cool. I mean, at least you could a few years back when I was there. Like, even where I live, like, you can get food like from a diner, like 24/7.
That is
Joe Jones says the internet has given people a platform to say things to people with no consequences, aka getting punched.
Yeah,
in the face.
Jordan Peterson started going into this recently, that what we have is now female version of sociopathy, whereas throughout most of our recent past, sociopaths made up 4% of men, and there was 0% of women were sociopaths. But now through the internet, we get to see all types of female sociopaths, which is usually like the traditional OnlyFans models or the Instagram girls that show their butts and the ones who select based on hypergamy and whatnot. And I'm not going to red pill, I'm going away from it. And so the thing is we've also seen men engaging in female ways of sociopathy, which is that you emotionally try to assassinate someone from the cover of anonymity through trolling, and that trolls are men engaging in female sociopathy patterns. And so that's what's so funny is when they're insulting you on the internet, it's basically what they don't realize is that they're really calling themselves a female sociopathist or a female sociopath, that rather than engaging in evil behavior as a man, you're engaging in the female version of evil behavior, which is almost the worst insult you could give somebody. Is you're evil, but you're too chicken shit to actually be evil in real life. So you're being evil on the internet.
Oh, speaking of,
I like how Robert E. Howard put it. He's the guy who wrote the Conan the Barbarian books back in like the fucking 20s, or I think it was the 20s. He said civilized men are more discourteous than savages because they know they can be impolite without having their skulls split as a general thing.
talking about females.
Sometimes I feel like when I rage at bicyclists or at people taking too long at the water fountain in front of me at the gym, I feel like I was born in the wrong century, I'm like, I got a solution to this problem.
Talk about female sociopaths. My girl at the gym that confronted me about staring at her. I was in there with my daughter the other night, and Colin was in there, and she just like did not work out, kept pacing back and forth in front of us, and was
something
like
wrong with that lady, man.
Giving us the evil eye the whole time for like 45 minutes. Did not do one set.
She's trying to get your attention so she can complain that you're looking at her. That's so
weird. My daughter was like getting freaked out.
Yeah,
can I say it this time?
If you have to ask, probably not.
If you have to ask Todd, then it's probably inappropriate.
Brandon, thanks for asking.
Brandon says the year Paul. And Brandon said the year Paul was emaciated, he weighed 10 pounds less than Shaun Clarida. That is true.
That's crazy.
That was a result of too much T3, man.
No.
Oh man, that's what 100 micrograms of T3 will do to you.
Ooh. Where are you, Nick?
Where am I? Me?
geographically, like you're in. It looks like you're in an office building.
Oh no, this is my condo in Thailand.
Oh, it is.
So
It is. Oh,
yeah,
it's just a different part of it.
I've got an iMac, so this is a bit. Oh wait, why am I trying to move my iMac?
I know it's because you're used to. You got yourself a camera, and so now I understand what's going on. You have a different angle. Yeah, it looks like glass.
So
I don't know what's on the other side of glass though.
Yeah, so I'm in the bedroom right now. My partner's downstairs on the couch watching television, like Friends or something, and I'm just upstairs in the bedroom. It's weird. The condo's got like a glass kind of like glass walls to kind of close it off from the rest of the condo. Yeah.
Okay, so you have internal glass walls in your condo.
Yeah, it's so strange.
Okay, cool. I thought it was just me. It's like it looked like you're in an office complex, and then when you're like, "No, we're in the condo," I'm like, "So they've got windows to the hallway in your condo?"
Yeah.
Like,
that's why Nick is so cool, man. He doesn't throw any stones.
That's the
Why am I laughing at that stupid joke? That's so fucking dumb.
Oh, and that's that there that you can see like right there. That's a chandelier that the owner of the condo installed the other day. Like I don't know why in a 1-bedroom condo he decided to install a chandelier.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah.
Class to join up a bit.
Yeah.
Tommy John said the girl at the gym was just peacocking you, Paul. Maybe. All right, so we want to get some questions in. Anybody got questions for us?
We haven't really gotten any questions. The only one that I saw earlier, someone was asking how we think Nick would have done if he hadn't torn his hamstring.
Oh, man,
it's a hard question.
I mean, he would have been in the top 5.
Yeah, top 5 for sure.
Top 5.
5th.
Yeah. Yeah, I think top
Maybe
5.
4th.
I think it'd be 4th and 5th would be between him and Andrew, I reckon.
Oh, here's one. Milos asks, "Why is Derek full everywhere except for his chest? Is that just genetics?"
I don't know if he's not full. I think it's just his insertion points. Like his chest is a bit narrow. Like looks like it's narrow relative to his like shoulders and clavicle.
It could be posing too. Like everybody always like commented on my photos in the past that my chest was small, and I'm like, I promise you, I don't have a small chest. But my posing coach Brandon was like, "Dude, you're not flexing your chest when you're doing any of your poses," and I'm like, "You're right." And so it was that simple, and now my chest looks way bigger.
Yeah,
I
mean, sometimes also not being full in a body part, it's weird. Like when your body fills out, it doesn't always like evenly fill out. Like if you're going from like flat and carbing up, like I've noticed I need to hit a certain threshold of like carbohydrates over that loading phase before certain body parts will pop. Like I'll have stuff kind of like fill out. Like my back's one of those ones where it's like I can have everything filled out, but my back, it must just store that much glycogen. Like if in order for me to do that, I need to have like 3 2,000 carb days like consecutive to like actually get the back to fill out. Otherwise it looks like I just have 5 kilos less muscle tissue on my back. So it could be something like that, maybe.
Yeah, and then just some people just have weaker body parts. This guy was asking about it's the same dude was asking about C-Bum's quad tear. I didn't even know he tore his quad.
Let's look at it. I don't remember.
I mean, you can hide that with posing.
I think it's hard with classic because they have that like twist in the way that they do the front double bicep. So you're never going to see both legs like symmetrically from the same angle. So you can kind of hide it very easy. Whereas if it was doing opening, it's just doing like front on symmetry, like with like both legs in the same position.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah. Yeah, that like balled up bit near his rec fem. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like it is his rec fem actually. Like he's torn his rec fem.
Yeah, and it looks like that leg is a little bit atrophied compared to the other one.
But like it's so hard to tell though in that kind of a pose or any classic poses because they're never like fully front on. They've always got one leading leg and one trailing leg, so it's always going to look a little bit different.
I mean, you can always hide stuff. There's a lot of stuff you can hide with posing. Let's see if I can find a better picture of it.
People have even used like Botox and stuff to hide like muscle tears, from what I understand. Like they'll get Botox injections, and it actually works quite well for some individuals. Like filling it in for a pec tear, for example, stuff like that.
You said a Botox to fill in a pec tear?
Yeah, Botox or filler or whatever it's called. You know,
probably filler.
Filler, yeah, not Botox. Yeah, I'm smoking crack. I don't know why I said Botox.
Nick, are you staying in classic or are you going up to bodybuilding?
I'm going up to bodybuilding. Yeah, I decided after my last comp, if I didn't go pro, I'd just move up to opens because I didn't want to like limit myself from growing anymore. My first prep, I've only done 2 like preps for bodybuilding, and they were both for classic. The first prep I did, I think my peak anabolic load was like 550 milligrams at the end of my prep, and then my second one, I like pushed the like pedal a bit more. I got over 1 gram. I think it was like 1.1 gram at the peak dose with all my orals in, and I mean I dropped that back down to like initially after show, like in that rebound phase before I started my off season, to like 700 megs total year. And like that's where I grew like a shitload, just adding heaps of food in. So my body wants to be bigger, and I just figured I'll just go up, and I will push the doses now because I want to.
I'm not laughing at you, Nick. I'm sorry.
No.
I'll put a funny joke up on the screen.
Sorry. And Kurt,
Slender Man.
Marty said, first coach back in 2014 put me on 100 micrograms of T3, and I looked like Slender Man. So did I, man.
Yeah.
Kurt, you're doing open, right? You're switching to open?
I'll let you guys decide. We'll see what I look like by then. I mean, I think I'm going to be too heavy to do classic anymore, but I mean, I'll leave that up to Paul. I'm open to anyone's input.
You're 215 right now, right?
Yeah, and I'm pretty lean. I mean, I got to eat like an idiot with the Serostim.
Well, I think I speak for everyone when I say we want to see you in a pair of board shorts. ASAP.
Well, the sad thing is looking at these guys now. If I wanted to compete at the pro level, that's where I'd be. I'd be in physique. I'm like the same size as Ryan Terry.
Here, I'll show you.
Not that that's a sad thing, but it's just weird to put this much effort into to be physique.
I'll show you my Slender Man picture.
Nothing wrong with that.
This was
this was
2021 at 185 pounds, and then
like if you're on 100 micrograms of T3, there is no way you're filling out.
No. you were in such a daze after that show, Paul. I don't know how much you remember. Immediately after your show,
I was crying over eating black and white cookies, and
it was like walking somebody from the nursing home around. It's from store to store buying baked goods, and he was telling people like in a frail voice that he was just in a bodybuilding show. It's like, all right, Grandpa, come on. But he was huge, but like he was so like barely functioning at that point. Oh man.
Yeah. Let me grab this one.
You got a little bit too lean there.
little too lean. Overdid it. That's my issue. Is I'll push too hard on things. Very few people do that. I usually have to. I'm the guy you have to hold back.
Yeah.
Our man Tommy John asked, he'd like to hear Kurt's favorite off-season cycle.
For me,
yep.
I mean, I think it's changed over the years. The things I tolerate are probably a lot less than what I used to. Right now, it's usually higher test and 1 anabolic. It was EQ. I just switched to Masteron just for shits. I mean, it's in the gram quantity, if that makes you feel good. It's, I don't know, it's probably close to 3 grams right now, plus HGH. And as much food as I can fit.
I mean, we were talking about this on our episode recently. It's like everybody goes through these phases, like where you experiment and you try all the weird compounds and you try different doses, and it seems like everybody ends up settling in on just about the same fucking thing. It's test, base, usually some sort of either EQ or primobolan as your secondary, and then maybe sprinkle a little nandrolone in there, and then HGH and insulin. That's where everybody ends up.
I mean, Rad 140, right?
Rad 140. That's what your fan would say.
I mean, I think to answer, I mean, I've pretty much done everything out there. I think I don't really tolerate nandrolone anymore. I do it smaller amounts, but then it's not doing anything for me. I've run almost a gram of it, but then you get really weird.
Yeah.
And EQ is making my everything, my hematocrit and things were just too high. That much EQ. So
yeah,
Primo became too much liquid.
Oh, here's Chase and Steve.
Oh shit.
Here we are. What's going on, guys?
What's up, gentlemen?
Oh, hello. Sorry. We're
Hello.
still setting up.
Oh, should we give you a minute?
Man, Steve's got the best shirts.
Tanner.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, Tanner?
What's going on,
Hey,
Tanner?
what's up,
There
man?
he is.
What's up, man?
What's up, guys?
Oh, this is awesome.
Wish we were there with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be on.
All
Is
right.
it good?
We got the, yeah. Can you put up the sound? Do you guys hear us okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, yeah.
Chase, come in here. So, and then we come in a little bit closer.
Maybe you can turn to that side.
Turn to this side.
Then you can brighter.
All
Better?
right, there we go. Okay, so you guys are missing out on all the fun.
It's crazy, man. Never been.
We can barely hear Tanner.
We barely hear you, man.
Yeah, first ever Olympia. It's a lot of fun.
I've never been to one.
I mean,
You should. Everybody's asking about you, Paul.
Next year, I'll be there. We're going to the Arnold, though. I'm gonna meet Chase there.
All right, cool.
He talked me into it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people here that are going to the Arnold too. That are like, I tell them, yeah, Paul's gonna be there. So
That's awesome.
Chase has been a bad influence on my finances because he's encouraged me to take 18 units of Serostim and go to every bodybuilding show. So
You gotta get out there, man.
my kids are going to have to pay for college on their own because of you, Chase.
Yeah, it's fun, man. You guys would love it here for sure.
Yeah, I wish it was there. It's awesome. So who's winning? Is it Derek? He looks the
I
best.
think Derek.
I think Derek for sure.
Yeah, basically yesterday, I think Derek first, and then Hadi second, Samson third. But Hadi was fading a little bit. His back was kind of soft. But from the front, he's almost unbeatable. But we're looking for the total package here. So Derek was very good from the back. And Samson was good all around. But still, his conditioning is a little bit lacking compared to the other two guys. So we'll just have to see how he goes tonight.
Yeah, Derek
From the-
Derek looked insane from the back.
Yeah.
It was wild. So
It's Phil Heath level.
just like
It's hard to tell from the pictures in the video, but Derek looked like he was the only one that was in shape.
from the back. Yeah, he's
From the back, he was
incredible
in the
shape.
best shape. Yeah. Besides Roman Fritz. Of course, Roman Fritz was the most peeled guy in the show.
Roman's the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roman messaged me yesterday. He's like, "Where are you at?" I'm like, "I'm not there, man. Damn it."
He
I wanted a McFlurry.
Good. Yeah, so Chase finally found out that everybody follows him, just like everybody follows me. Even the biggest names.
So
me and
cool.
Chase- me and Chase, basically, our protocols are on stage too. Be surprised how many pros and coaches and stuff follow us all.
Yeah,
That's
it was
very cool.
Pretty weird, like seeing it. Well, even like last night, we were talking to Carlos Thomas Jr. and he was like he knew who I was, and I was like, "Are you, what?"
Yeah, we met a lot of guys. That follow our shit. So that's pretty
That's
cool.
fucking
to see.
awesome.
Tanner, how was your experience so far?
It's been the same thing. I mean, there's a couple huge guys that will come up to me and I'm like, "Are you sure you know me and you follow what I'm talking about?" No, they think it's cool, someone that's a kid in the game starting to bring up the new generation. It's pretty uplifting. I like it. So they're nice to me. They're not trying to
Very
kick me
cool.
out quite yet. So we'll see.
We're hazing him a little bit. Jerry Pop.
You got to break him in.
Yeah, big time.
You guys having fun over there? What was the podcast like so far?
We just been talking about the Olympia, speculating on who's going to win and looking at the pictures.
Yeah, Chris looks a little bit faded. Did you guys see that as well?
I couldn't tell. I mean, Ramon looked really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look really good, better than last year. And then
Mhm.
Brian actually also improved quite a bit compared to last year. So he might move up to fourth. Urs looked bigger. I'm not sure if he's better, but he was in great shape. But I felt that Chris Bumstead was I don't know, not as chiseled as he was last year.
What was going on with Shaun Clarida's midsection? It looked like
Extended as
it
fuck.
was just
It was
extended.
extended as fuck. That's why he lost. He was just we're trying to do a live play-by-play from the audience, which of course is way too noisy. So I had to take it down, and I got like 10 copyright strikes. So I had to take my play-by-play down.
Yeah, the music was so loud in there, like you couldn't hear anything.
No,
Yeah.
no, and then people were bitching in the chat like, "Fix the audio." I'm like, motherfucker.
Let's turn it down.
I go ask Bob and Steve Weinberg to turn the audio down. Yeah. So anyway, we saw Shaun Clarida, post for finals, and he was quite distended, more distended than prejudging. So I think that's why he lost. And of course, Breon's got that beautiful V-taper and vacuum pose.
Or Keone.
Keone, sorry. Yeah, Breon also, but that's later today. Keone, yeah. So Keone, even though he was not in great conditioning, I think they're just going for the shape. And if that's telling for tonight, then they might go with Derek Lunsford as well. But move the camera this so you can see me. So if it's telling, then I think Derek might take it. But let's see what happens tonight.
I mean, Hadi's got a good vacuum too.
Yeah, that's
I was surprised, like when he pulled it up. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Everybody was like, "Oh, he's gonna be so thick waisted, and his waist looks amazing."
Non-existent.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Non-existent.
They must have done all the colonics. all that shit.
It looked like Shaun. We couldn't tell from the photos, but I don't know if that's new or not. He definitely had a scar on his stomach. It looked like maybe it had some surgery or something.
No, it's been there for a couple of years. Yeah,
has it?
There for a couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed his abs looked like they were a little washed. Like they weren't as I don't know. I feel like you can see.
It's
I
mostly,
like how Dexter Jackson when he's shredded, like you can see like the lines on the outside of his abs, like the I feel like Shaun's usually like that, and I didn't see that last night.
No.
So.
He looked a little bit constipated, basically, where the top abs, the top abs are bubbling, but then it comes down, the whole ab is sticking out. So I think he just had too much food in his midsection and causing him to be a little bit spilled and a little bit too much, film of water. And that's why he probably lost, because he wasn't as good as last year. Whereas Breon moved up substantially. Or Keone, yeah.
Keone.
Yeah, Keone wasn't even on any of the posters.
No.
Yeah, he wasn't even.
Well, he looked amazing.
Yeah, he looked crazy.
Yeah, looked good.
It's always hard to.
Guys, we got to go run to the expo. We got some
All right.
people to meet. So enjoy the podcast. We'll catch up next weekend.
All right, thank you for checking in,
You
guys.
guys.
See you guys. Take care.
See ya.
How awesome was that?
Very cool.
That was cool.
Live from the Olympia.
Live from the only here on Anabolic Bodybuilding, live finest quality bodybuilding entertainment on the interwebs.
I just can't believe that you planned
Victor
that.
comment that came up before. What was that Victor comment? That was pretty funny.
Victor probably thinks everybody at the Olympia is mad at him.
He stole his work.
Stole his work and pissed right now. They're running my safer use Somebody the other day asked me about
they're not even shouting him out or nothing.
I hate to even call attention to his name, but somebody asked me about his safer use protocol, and I'm like, let me sum it up for you in one sentence. Take test, master on a blood pressure pill, and check your blood pressure. There you go.
Yeah.
That is the safer use protocol. Oh boy. All right, where were we at? Let's see here.
I'm taking some questions. Tommy John said he'd like to hear what
we already did that one.
Oh, did we? I'm sorry. My bad.
Are you high again, Colin?
Never. I don't do that. I don't do that. I'm just used to being the only one who does the questions. I'm like, this is my list. And also I'm high. Don't worry about it. Another one from Ilya Milos is beta ING.
I don't know what the
beta and he means beta and HCl. Yeah, it can be useful for higher protein.
Thanks for knowing
diets. Yeah, I mean I personally use it when my protein is quite high. It helps, I find, with just processing the food. But I mean, you're probably better off getting an enzyme blend, like a digestive enzyme blend with beta and HCl in it, and then you get a few others like pepsin and like bromelain. Bromelain is really good. You can get that from pineapple core, like kiwi fruit and stuff. that's fantastic for aiding in the digestion of proteins. And then just other things like lipase, amylase, just to digest all the macronutrients, not just protein. But yeah, this is good. That's a half decent one for protein, B10HCl.
Cool. I did not know that.
It comes down to whether or not you make enough stomach acid for the amount of food you're eating. So often people don't make enough stomach acid. So adding betaine will actually improve acid reflux, which is counterintuitive. There's a certain procedure. I know Karina does it with our clients who has heartburn, is she has like a procedure to determine which type of heartburn they have. And then she titrates out exactly the correct amount, I think, of baking soda to figure out what it is, and then she handles it with a proper digestive enzyme blend and whatnot. It's all the gut health stuff she handles for me. I don't know it that well, but I plan on learning.
That's cool. I like that. That's awesome.
This one's hilarious. Steve looks like a hitman trying to blend in Florida.
Agent 48.
Agent 48.
He looks like he just had to take the suit off because it got blood on it, and he just had to like pick up whatever the first shirt he could find. Oh shit, that's great. That's really funny.
Oh man, I'm not going to mention any names, but I recently had a guy tell me you can grow with just MK and no extra food. Okay, yeah, give it a try. Let me know how it works out.
Yeah, see you on the Olympia stage next year.
Yeah, we'll see you. You'll be giving Samson and everybody else a run for their money next year. It always this is something that always blows me away. Like everybody's trying to look to reinvent the wheel. And literally, the fucking formula is right in front of you. You just look at the guys on the pro level. They all pretty much eat the same damn diet. They all pretty much take the same gear. They all pretty much train the same way. Just slight variations here and there. But like everybody who's like searching for the answers, they don't want to believe that that's what they're doing. It's got to be some weird training program. It's got to be some super secret compound that they're taking. They're not telling everybody out about. It's got to be some weird training protocol. It's just some weird diet. Like literally, it's the formula is right in front of you.
People are funny about that sort of thing. Like whenever you can have the greatest information known to mankind, make it available for free, and people won't value it because you're giving it away for free. They don't see the intrinsic value in what is being offered, the information that's being offered. And that's why they're susceptible to those scams where people make it sound shiny and fresh and fun, right?
Like when people start master classes.
Right. But what they fail to realize is that the lesson is there, it's free, the information's freely available, but the value is not in the information, it's in your application of it. Like, so don't look externally for that sort of shit. It's all from in here. Like once you start applying the hard work to the freely available information, like it's simple, not easy. Like the diet stuff, it's simple. Anybody can understand that. The drug stuff, it's simple. Anybody can understand that, but it's not easy to do it consistently. And that's what makes it special. Like, yeah, that's it. And I know it's not sexy, but, and I fuck it up all the time. Believe me. Like I try and I fail and I try and I fail, but it's that, that's what makes it special. It's sort of actually. Yeah,
that's what Justin says all the time. Bodybuilding isn't complicated, but it's not easy.
Yeah, it's like jiu-jitsu. It's like all the best things in life,
Yeah. Here's what Tommy John says: test EQ or Primo, GH, insulin, meat, and rice for 10+ years. That's pretty much
That's
it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
An honorable mention for Masteron.
Thank you, Tommy. You hurt my feeling.
It's funny, like nobody even talked about Masteron until Victor Black came around. I just like. I don't know. I still sort of view it as a contest prep compound. I don't get much out of it in the off season.
I'm looking forward to my next push-up phase. I'm sick of this maintenance phase I'm in, but I've got it because of the leg, obviously the surgery, having that done and just letting that heal.
Marty's with you, Colin. He says I feel too, Colin.
I like to think I'm failing forward at least, but
no, yeah, we were talking about it last night. I'm like, you're like 80% there. It's just that last little. You're there with every workout with me.
I know. It's just at the I don't fit. Like I show up to the gym, I work hard, guys, and then like I do a diet and I'm good for like 8 weeks, and then like the fucking wheels fall off, and I don't know. It's my own failure. I'm not like making excuses. Like I just it's something I struggle with, something I'm trying to overcome.
We were talking about that last night, and I see it a lot with my clients. That's the part of the diet that where people, and Justin calls it the skinny fat phase, where you get to the point where you really can't see any definition yet, but you're losing all your fullness and your size. You're getting weaker, and people get very emotional and they give up like at the midpoint of a diet. That I think that is the hardest part of doing a cut, is getting through that middle part. And once you get to the end, it's like where I'm at right now. You see changes daily, and it's even though you're starving or whatever, it's fun. It gets fun. But that middle part of the diet is a slog, where you're doing your cardio, you're getting weaker, you don't look any better, you're getting smaller. It sucks psychologically.
It's kind of equal and opposite for women trying to gain weight. Is that they fill up on water and they feel bloated, and they're not going to gain any muscle, and they're certainly not going to gain muscle very quickly. So they have to feel like shit, and in their eyes look like shit for 6-7 months straight. Only at the end of the period, you don't have a baby, you just have a little bit of muscle and a lot of fat that you got to lose. So I find that they usually will stick to an off-season plan for a couple weeks, and then they want to start cutting again. They just can't handle it.
Yeah. I've noticed that. Yeah.
This is what I wanted to grab. I'm going to pull this one up off the list, Colin. Mark was asking about anyone have issues with ankle or lower extremity edema, water retention when telmisartan, and it is one of the side effects of telmisartan. You can retain water.
Yeah, I think I experienced it at a certain dose of telmisartan, and it could be two things, or I mean, it should be three things actually. You could have an allergy to it, an allergic reaction to it. You could just be using too much, or your electrolyte intake's inconsistent in relation to using the ARB, or it's just a side effect of the compound for you.
Yeah, it's like sort of a follow-up. He wants to know if will the body adjust to it, and will it go away, or he has a concern that the kidneys might not be eliminating potassium.
I mean, it does cause.
Kurt,
I have seen people.
I had this guy ask this
on
question.
it.
Kurt, I had this guy come onto the podcast just to ask this question because I don't know the answer, but I thought you might know the answer. Does the potassium is the water retention due to the potassium situation? I guess that's part one of the question.
Well, I think it's only been studied in people with chronic kidney disease. So it's I'm assuming this guy does not have chronic kidney disease.
But
it's just probably messing up the filtration.
Let's back it up even more. Why does telmisartan cause problems with potassium? Do you know why that is?
It's something with the protein to creatinine ratio. But what's causing it?
Yeah, why is there an elevation in potassium in people that use telmisartan? I don't know the answer to that question.
Let me think about it for a second.
Because if we did know the answer, then we could determine whether or not it's transient or permanent. Because if it is something like I
would think it'd be transient.
Okay, and so that would answer his question. Then that would imply that water retention and edema due to telmisartan is temporary, not permanent. Because those are the two things I hear about, is that telmisartan causes water retention and telmisartan influences potassium. But what it makes worse, did you find it?
Here's a study. Yeah, here's a study from the NIH. It says our studies indicate that telmisartan can block the KV 1.3 potassium channels and effectively inhibit potassium current densities along with KV1.
Okay. Those are cardiac things, right, Todd?
Oh, well, I don't know. So is that the transporter in all cells? Is that just the potassium transporter in all cells, or is it kidneys or the glomerulus? Because if it's a glomerulus, then now it makes sense that you're retaining sodium, you're retaining potassium, so you retain water. That would make sense. and it's a genetic, like not an allergy per se, but Nick's not wrong that you're genetically predisposed to this consequence. Because an allergy is typically a hypersensitivity reaction, either 1, 2, 3, or 4, and it's a very specific thing. Whereas genetic intolerance, people often associate.
Says it also affects protein expression levels. Telmisartan may have an inhibitory effect on the NFAT signaling pathway after activation and proliferation of peripheral blood T lymphocytes in patients with the essential hypertension.
Yeah, now I have no idea why the immune system is getting involved, but only in people who've got essential hypertension.
That would be some sort of allergic reaction, right?
Yeah, which would be what a type 3, which is basically what Nick was saying.
Like a autoimmune response.
Now, usually hypersensitivity reactions are eosinophil mediated, not T cell mediated. So technically, that's where there's the genetic predisposition to negative outcome is often referred to colloquially as an allergy, but that's not actually what allergies are. Allergies are always, I think they're almost always IgA or eosinophil mediated. Histamine usually is involved too.
Yeah, you're correct, Todd.
Yeah, it can cause hyponatremia and hyperkalemia, which makes me wonder.
Right.
Because I've had that in the past myself.
And you were on Telmisartan when that happened?
Yep.
One thing that I see people fuck up with a lot is they start smashing a lot of the diet salt when they're taking an ARB. And I don't think that's a wise move, like increasing your potassium intake excessively if it's going to cause you to retain potassium. I know a lot of people say to have diet salt to just increase their potassium intake, but I don't think when on an ARB it's necessary.
Sunscrave asks how easy it is to get the hyperkalemia with Telmisartan. I have not seen it on blood work that often, very rarely.
I've never seen it.
No.
A couple times maybe. I will see people in contest prep get hyperkalemic and hyponatremic. I have seen that. It's happened to me. And I it's especially at the end of the prep when you're drinking a bunch of fucking water and flushing out sodium.
Hydration and dehydration can heavily influence your potassium levels too.
And then people are also jamming fucking potatoes and stuff at the end of contest prep. I'm just speculating.
No, I mean, like what's the cutoff for hyperkalemia? Because it's like your 4.3 to 4.5 is pretty normal. I figure 5.5 you're dead. So where is the cutoff for hyperkalemia? 5.1?
Sounds like a great place to be and take potassium sparing diuretics at the end of prep, right?
Yeah. Oh God.
I get these people that are cramping up all the time. They'll start cramping up towards the end of prep, and I'll have them go get a blood panel done, and they're like jamming potassium, and then all the time they'll be hyperkalemic and hyponatremic at the same time. It's not a potassium issue.
Yeah, so insufficient sodium.
Yeah, it's sodium insufficiency and too much potassium.
Yeah.
Okay, so normal is 3.5 to 5.2. It's a much bigger range than I thought. And
what unit of measurement is that in?
millimoles per liter.
Todd, 5.2.
Oh, okay, that's what they use over in Australia. Cool.
Yeah, 5.2 is the upper limit of normal. 6 is critical.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever seen someone that high. I don't think I've ever seen someone in the 5s, let alone in the 6s.
I've seen someone like 0.1 of a reference, 0.1 of a reference range over, or 0.1 over the reference range of mean. So like 5.3. I think it was all like 5.4. I've seen someone at that. But I also asked them, did you drink water? And they're like, no, I didn't drink water. And then I said, you don't listen to your GP next time. drink fucking water before your blood test. That's just an outdated moronic recommendation.
Well, I think what it is they tell them fasted. And so what nurses start doing is telling patients nothing by mouth, because patients would have coffee and put cream and sugar in it. And they're too stupid to realize we're trying to get it fasted so we have their blood sugar accurate. And so what the nurses do is they tell them, don't take anything. And then what happens is because women don't lose that much water overnight. They lose like 1 pound of water. I lose 8 pounds of water. If I don't drink a gallon first thing when I wake up, then I'm not going to have accurate blood work done. And we've went through this before where I had a 56 hematocrit when I got 20 ounces of fluid in me. But when I had 2 gallons of fluid in me, I had a 46 hematocrit.
Didn't I just see a video of you talking with Dr. Serrano about that?
I haven't seen the video yet, but yes, I did notice when I woke up this morning that there was a reel of me saying something about drinking water before your blood work. And I think Dr. Serrano agreed with me.
Here's a warning directly from I'm looking at the manufacturer thing. It said hyperkalemia can occur in patients with ARBs, potentially with people on potassium supplements or using. It said you should not use potassium supplements, potassium-sparing diuretics, potassium-containing salt substitutes, or other drugs to increase potassium levels while using telmisartan.
Yeah. Also,
it said periodic. It said serum electrolyte levels imbalances can happen, particularly in patients at risk.
Yeah. So for the guy that asked, I'd say keep your salt intake consistent, and see if like the edema settles after being on the telmisartan for a while. If you start and stop it, or if you change the dose telmisartan, it's probably going to cause that response. But if it is transient and it's not like chronic, then it should just alleviate within a couple of weeks.
I hate to further go down this rabbit hole, and I've heard of people taking ARBs with ACE inhibitors too, and it's saying that dual blockage of the renin-angiotensin aldosterone system, such as taking ACE inhibitors in combination with ARBs, increases the chances of hyperkalemia and can cause changes in renal function, including acute renal failure compared to monotherapy.
All right,
yeah, because you got angiotensin 1, you got angiotensin 2 and stuff, and I know that telmisartan's angiotensin 2 selective. So if you block all the angiotensin receptors, you're going to be in a world of fuckery.
Yeah.
So let's back that up though. So if 1 can cause some hyperkalemia, and 2 is exacerbating, probably synergistically, exponentially, the hyperkalemia and can cause renal insufficiency, then it would imply that his original question, is the edema due to the hyperkalemia? Technically, yes, that whatever's causing the hyperkalemia will technically cause a decrease in the kidney functions, and you might see some edema. One would assume that if this is a genetic thing, it's not transient. And thus, you probably, if you're retaining water, but your then your potassium is probably elevated. I guess the correct follow-up, the algorithm would be get your hydrated blood work done, check your potassium. If the potassium is elevated, then just be aware that, but it's not in a bad range. Like let's say it's 5.2, 5.3, then you basically know that you can't go higher on the telmisartan and to not include additional potassium sources. Stick to rice as a starch, and your potassium will come from your protein sources like meat. And then if your edema is unpleasant and you wish to remove it, then I would probably, if it was my body, I would use 6.25 milligrams of hydrochlorothiazide and wash that off. That way.
It's interesting too. Like people never check the drug interactions too. That's another. It said it should not be used with NSAIDs.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you really think people just take a drug without reading the interactions?
Yes. a lot of yeah.
100%.
That's like 80% of users. Yeah.
I would say it's 100% poorly don't check the interactions.
Yeah. Mismanaged polypharmacy.
Well, I know a lot of bodybuilders pound the NSAIDs.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought I didn't know anyone actually was dumb enough to use those.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see it all the time.
I don't.
It says that it said in use with combination of NSAIDs can cause acute renal failure.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I don't know what this. There's other lithium. It should not be administered with lithium. So if you're bipolar and taking lithium, probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't know what digoxin is.
Digoxin is for heart rate.
And then Aliskin.
Yeah.
What was the last one?
Aliskiren. Aliskiren.
I'm not picturing it. That's not a big list, though.
No.
Just don't take it with lithium. Don't take the painkillers and stop muscle growth. I mean, why anyone would use those is beyond me.
Don't double up blood pressure medicines, ARBs and ACE inhibitors.
Which is the opposite of what they do with their estrogen. They take an AI and a SERM.
There was a question about Aliscarin. Were you asking what it was?
No, it says you should not take
inhibitor.
You should not take.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I wasn't.
You should not take that in combination with.
Oh, so renin inhibitor.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense because the telmisartan modifies the aldosterone angiotensin renin system. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I mean, like it seems like everybody's got a boner for telmisartan right now. I mean, it is not benign. I'm not saying you shouldn't take it. I don't know. Sometimes
people like woefully take it when they don't need it. It's like just because somebody with a masterclass says it's good to take it doesn't mean everybody requires it. It's like if your blood pressure is like normal, like if you're in range, then I probably wouldn't recommend
100%.
taking one. Yeah, if you're chronically above the range, well, the negatives or the cons of having hypertension in a like a ongoing state versus taking a basically a pharmaceutical drug is obviously going to be a lot more favorable to just take the pharmaceutical drug because it's going to prevent like chronic kidney damage down the track. Like it's all about like I suppose assessing each individual case by case. It's not a one size fits all.
I have to drop it on contest prep. My blood pressure starts to get too low.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what's bad about the safer use model, I think, or any model. It's like you can't have a model and just apply it to everybody. What were you going to say, Kurt? Sorry?
I was just going to say, I think the person with the master class, there's three things. One, they're an engineer, not a doctor, right? So they probably shouldn't make a medical diagnosis. I think two, they actually invented telmisartan, I believe, right? And three, I also think that they like to let estrogen run rampantly high, which could potentially cause an issue there with water retention.
Also have blood pressure.
So I would just ignore the master class pretty much because it's not valid.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, it's a poorly assembled.
I would say
poorly assembled protocol.
I would want to keep your blood pressure under 120/80.
Yeah, mine's extremely low. Mine's like 110 on 45.
That is fun.
Man,
that's fun.
He is not the one who knocks. That is Tommy. He is not the one who knocks.
I can't.
I'm not speaking into existence.
We operate on Voldemort rules now.
That's too much respect. That is way too much respect. He's more like Kylo Ren than he is like Voldemort.
I just meant in terms of he who shall not be named.
Yeah.
Yes. They don't say his name.
No, we don't want to give any publicity for that.
Milos asked something about E2 and equipoise. That's an interesting question, and it's interesting. Yeah, interesting. I'll say because it's individual specific, so it'll be a good one to answer.
Okay, let's see.
What was the question?
I don't.
Colin.
What was the question?
Elijah.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I have that starred. Yeah, Ilya Milos. I'm just curious, when does EQ peak when it comes to impacting E2 levels because it's such a slow ester?
What would peak at 72 days, right? But what
I think maybe it means peak in post injection. You know how like testosterone, they say 24 hours.
It's 3 days. 3 days post, right? Is that right, Todd? 3 days.
Okay, so he's saying when it comes to impacting E2 level,
Oh.
so he wants to, because it's a slow ester, so he wants to know when do you actually hit steady state concentration, not peak.
72.
Use the word peak, but he means steady state concentration, I think.
Right?
Oh, okay. Oh, so
And then
peak
he
saturation
also
levels?
wants to know, because remember, the metabolite is a different half-life than
Yeah.
EQ. So once you hit steady state concentration, if the half-life is
I'll sort
longer,
that out.
that's just the camera though. Okay, his voice is still there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the question. Is I don't think anyone knows what the metabolite half-life is for EQ. That's the aromatase inhibitor, because I don't think they've discovered the aromatase inhibitor for EQ yet.
And I don't
They just-
believe that
We
that
believe
one
it's there.
the 1 AD, is that what you're talking about, Todd?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure that's actually a real chemical. We could look it up. I don't.
Well, because
A lot of
you found the study that said that they just discovered this year Primo has a metabolite that's an AI.
Yes.
And we know that EQ has AI activity, but we don't know the mechanism of it, if it's a metabolite or if it's EQ itself.
Well, so it's part of it is it metabolizes backwards, right? To a estrone to a dione first, and then an estrone.
Mhm.
And I think the E2 thing is probably genetics, similar to masteron blocking estrogen, right? Like most people just experience the SERM effects, and some people masteron access in AI as well.
Right.
I'm
Like,
not sure. The problem is EQ is not looked at in those terms. It's looked at, the only studies that are currently going on with EQ are in animals.
Right.
And it's a bioidentical hormone in animals, so we're not even looking at that.
I see. All right. So what are we looking at
anyone
here?
will ever study EQ in humans again?
This is the curve of EQ. Like, for those of you guys out there, steroidplotter.com, if you ever want to see how long,
cool.
You can adjust your dosing schedule. You can see the peaks and dips. Like, this is every 3 days. If you wanted to go to every 7 days and see the peaks and dips,
Well, we're seeing almost yeah. So this is so funny. Is it's pulling teeth to get people to do daily injections, and like if they were to look at this, they'd see how much better it is to do daily injections than it is to weekly injections.
Yeah, I mean, if we went to every day and just went to you can see,
boom.
Yeah,
like it's so much smoother.
Even with every other day.
Yeah, every other day is probably the least frequent I would do.
Every 3 days.
Personally.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I always laugh. I talked to a guy the other day. He told me his coach had him doing 8-week cycle of EQ. I'm like, dude, it's not even a fucking peak at 8 weeks. What? Like, you can, I mean, what did you guys say? It looks like, according to them, it peaks up 75. It says,
okay.
I mean, close enough. 72. Yeah.
But right here, we were almost there at 45. There's not a big difference between 45 and 75.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like we're about halfway there at day 22, something like that. But yeah. But like an 8-week cycle of EQ makes 0 sense.
I've usually never really seen EQ run for anything less than 16 to 20 weeks.
I mean, 20 weeks, I think, is kind of the... honestly, I don't understand the point of doing an 8-week cycle. I don't think it's going to do shit for you.
I just found the full screen button. So now I'm able to make this take up my whole screen rather than the little window. You're like, wow, Todd, it's been a year and you're just figuring out how to use the software. Yeah.
All right, let's get one more in, and then I need to wrap it up. Today's a high day, and I got insulin running, so I don't want to go hypo, pass out on camera.
One hormone question, one exercise question, and one sort of existential question. What are you guys feeling?
Existential.
All right. So we got Sunsgrave. He said he had sent this to Paul for his next Q&A, but he's happy to have it answered now. He's got a kid who asked him, so when are you considered a bodybuilder? And then follow up, what does the pro card mean? So what do you guys think? When are you considered a bodybuilder?
When you do a bodybuilding show.
For me, it's when people ask you if you're on steroids. Hey, bro, are you on steroids?
I think you can't claim the title bodybuilder unless you
you got to
do a bodybuilding competition. Yeah,
unless you've done what?
A bodybuilding show.
There you go.
Yeah. And then what does pro card mean? It means nothing these days.
I mean, I think you have to qualify for you have to win your class at a local show, and then you qualify for a national show, and you have to win your class in the overall in the division. Usually there's 1 or 2 pro cards given per division in a national show, and then you achieve pro status.
Yeah. Joking aside, that's it. Yeah. It's like some shows like Amateur Olympias, I know they end up pro cards to the top 3 in each category. But yeah, usually, like Paul said, you have to win the overall at a pro qualifier show.
Speaking of that, I want to give a shout out to my buddy Brandon Barrow from our gym, who got his pro card at the Amateur Olympia this week.
That's awesome.
Oh, I saw that actually. He looked phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brandon's my posing coach.
We have to get him on sometime.
Yeah, I need to get Brandon on.
He's a really cool dude. He's super humble, super hard worker.
He is the hardest worker in our gym, that is for sure. Dude is always eating. He's always got a bowl of food with him everywhere he goes.
So I want to back that up a little bit. So we all agree that a bodybuilder is someone who competes in bodybuilding, but do you consider classic physique a bodybuilder, or do they have to be a bodybuilder to be?
I feel like it's a question of perspective, because we're all looking at these competitors today earlier on the Olympia stage, and we're being like, oh, this guy's, his physique is not, quite like what one would expect, to be on the Olympia stage as a champion, or this, that, and the other. That's our perspective as people who are fans of the sport, and you all compete and everything. But the perspective of just the general public, anybody doing physique or classic are absolutely, they would be like, yeah, they're bodybuilders from our perspective, right?
I'm not like you, Todd. I don't hate on the classics physique and men's physique. I think they're just as much bodybuilders as us.
I don't hate on classic. I notice I didn't say I don't hate on physique. I most certainly hate physique. But
don't get it twisted.
Like, I don't want you to think that I've gotten merciful or something. It's like,
God forbid.
But I think that classic should be called classic bodybuilding, because I do consider it a form of bodybuilding. When I think of a bodybuilder, that means to me it's a bodybuilder, like 212 or open pros, or NPC in the bodybuilding divisions. But classic is being kind of a gray area, because it isn't called bodybuilding, it's called physique. They could have very easily called it classic bodybuilding, but they didn't. And I don't understand why they didn't. It's almost like I want to shake them. Like, why didn't you call it classic bodybuilding?
I'm going to agree
because
with
if you were
I think anyone who lives that lifestyle can be considered a bodybuilder. It doesn't have to compete.
I think you can draw a distinction between anybody who's building a better body is technically a bodybuilder, but most people wouldn't feel comfortable being called one, because they know that they don't want to be misconstrued with the competitive bodybuilder who, that's a completely different crowbar separation. But so like Sunscrape saying, anybody who's, if you're living the lifestyle, you're trying to build a better body, you're trying to diet, you're trying to get and do work, like, technically, you are, but nobody's going to call you one,
So
I think it's sorry.
Well, I always use the mother analogy. It's like, unless you've carried the baby for 9 months, given birth, and raised it and had it live, you're not really a mother. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be someone who just has sex and be like, well, I did the fun part, so that makes me a mom. Like, you have to actually diet for the 6 to 12 to 20 weeks. You have to actually go through the process of actually getting on stage naked and being judged on your body. And that's the part that a lot of people don't even consider, that the biggest fear is stepping on stage naked. That's their biggest fear. Like, that's one of the biggest phobias. It's like, that is the best part of the process, is the part that a normal sane human would never do. So it's like to say, oh, I'm a bodybuilder, but they can't even speak with their clothes on in front of an audience. It's like, how about you fucking pose naked in front of an audience? They can't do that. They're not a fucking bodybuilder. I don't care how much chicken and rice they eat. I don't care how much the weight they lift. that they have absolutely no clue what they're talking about.
We can probably make a distinction then. People can either be bodybuilding or they can be a bodybuilder. So it's like
that's pretty much
the
it.
active bodybuilding.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a fair.
I'll agree to that. If you're trying to grow muscle, right, you're engaging in bodybuilding at your fitness center.
Right.
But that's not a bodybuilder.
Doesn't make you a bodybuilder. So that's a good distinction. Yeah.
So you're an aspiring bodybuilder, just like
if you train like a military personnel, that doesn't make you a soldier. It's like it means you train like a soldier, you live the lifestyle of a soldier, but you are not a soldier unless.
It's just like the booty boot camp. Just because someone's a soccer mom who does a booty boot camp doesn't make her a Navy SEAL. She has to actually go to BUD/S and complete BUD/S training, and then participate in missions, and now she is a Navy SEAL.
Yeah, I think that's a fair kind of comparison. Yeah,
I think you just described almost everybody in this country who belongs to a militia.
The militia people are not soldiers. They're what do you call it? They call military enthusiasts,
gravy seals. Meal Team 6.
So that's a good point. So somebody who lives the lifestyle is a bodybuilding enthusiast. They're not a real bodybuilder.
I like. That's what, like, nobody I know who even is engaging in the act of bodybuilding who hasn't dieted and competed would want to be called a bodybuilder, because it's like not a title that they've earned. Like something like Chris is saying, meathead, or like, you know, a weightlifter. You could say like, I'm, you know, I lift weights, I'm a weightlifter, but I'm not a bodybuilder, you know, like that. They do a different thing. Like I've never, like you said, dieted for 16 weeks and then got up on stage and, you know, posing trunks.
Yeah, I dated a girl who told me that she only dates bodybuilders. She had dated 0 bodybuilders. She dated gym rats and meatheads, because her definition of a bodybuilder is someone who looks good naked, who takes steroids. And I was like, that is not a bodybuilder.
Right. And that's most of the general public, you know, like they can't differentiate, you know.
That's most porn stars, I think. Most male porn stars. Oh, I'm pretty sure that'd be most male porn stars. Like I'm pretty sure most of them take anabolics and they have to look good naked for their job. So
Clomid.
She could have just been dating porn stars.
Those massive, whatever you want to call them. I don't know if we can say it on air.
No, that's so funny that you're conscious about that. I would never think of that word. You know what? I saw someone spell a word like they're talking to children, like LOAD. Like they basically, if you spell a word, then it's not the same thing that the AI doesn't pick up on it as being a naughty word.
All right, folks, let's wrap this up. I appreciate each and every one of you. Oh, one exciting piece of news. My channel hit 20,000 subscribers.
Oh, shit.
Awesome.
Oh, that's
congratulations.
exciting.
Very cool.
2 years and 4 months later. And I have to give Clomid for those big money shots. Yes, Chris, you nailed it. Thank you, Chris, for filling in.
Yeah, we were monetized. I didn't screw up once, but we managed in the last moment of the video to fuck it up. Thanks, Chris.
I have to give Colin thanks for inspiring me for doing the channel. He was tired of people asking me questions in the gym. He's like, you just need to make some YouTube videos, man. I'm like, all right, I'll make some YouTube videos. And little did I know that it was going to get me 1 million more times questions.
Yeah.
Do we have a workout that ever goes uninterrupted now?
No, I joke like I need to like come to the gym with like a velvet rope now and set it up in front of whatever machine we're working on, you know, like active security. Everybody wants a piece of Big Paul at the gym.
I don't know. You need to get your arms. Colin needs to get his arm security license. Be a bodyguard.
Mr. Barnett's not taking any questions right now. I need you to move along.
Questions please move on.
No eye contact.
Colin,
you got 30 seconds. Your time starts now.
It's sir to you. Look to the left. That's hilarious. A little story about that. I know some people that used to work for the Washington football team here, and the former owner, who's no longer there, they said you weren't allowed to make eye contact with him. You had to call him Mr. and couldn't look at him directly in the eyes.
My sister interned for the the team formerly, whatever they were called before they were the Washington football team and the Commanders. And she interned for them one summer, and she was tasked with getting coffee for a group of people who were meeting with the owner at the time. And she was told specifically that when she brought the coffees in on a tray, that his coffee had to be bigger than everyone else's. So if that tells you anything about where that guy's mind was at.
Colin, if my ego ever gets that big, or anybody in the audience, everybody has permission to just punch me right in the nuts. I hope I never achieve that level of egocentrism.
If your figurative head size ever even begins to approach your physical head size, you're going to be in problem. We're going to be in trouble.
I keep coming up with funny things. That before and after picture I put up, and they're like, "Look, Paul grew into his head."
Paul grew into his head.
That made me laugh. The girls are crazy for his shredded glutes. There are no girls.
It's all dudes.
It's all dudes. The girls think I'm staring at them and think I'm a creepy. They assume I'm an axe murderer or a serial rapist. And little do they know I'm about as benign as it gets. All right, folks, let's wrap this one up. Thank you for watching in another episode of Anabolic Bodybuilding Live.